All right, this one's gonna come in now. We're going into the conference room. So, like I said before, even though I told them I had studied law for several years, it clearly shows that I hadn't, only had a couple months worth of study while I was incarcerated for 88 days. And, just terrible, terrible, terrible. All right, here you go, guys.
True. What county was that in? I have no clue.
Here's the question again.
I don't even remember a charge of that. I mean, what year was that? It looks like you were arrested on December the 12th of 2003. No, that would be incorrect. I've never been arrested. And it looks like you were sentenced to something on April the 8th. That's this case. April the 8th, 2005. No, that's incorrect. And it looks like you were handled for something at LaPorte PD. And actually, that is all going to be correct. Incorrect. Like you were handled for something at LaPorte PD. And actually, that is all going to be correct. Incorrect. Because my identity was stolen. That's another reason why I'm pushing what I'm pushing. I did get pulled over, and then finally an officer slipped up and said, "Wait a minute, you're not black." I was like, "You're absolutely right." So it just goes to show you whatever's entered into a computer that anybody can steal your identity. Well, and it looks like you were handled in County Criminal Court at Law Number 5. You were given deferred adjudication probation on 4/8 of 2005. Oh, I do. I don't know if I remember. And you got a 2-year deferred adjudication probation. No, I've never been on probation for 10 years. I think maybe 2 years. I said 2 years. I never said 10. Oh, it's like you said 10. It was a misdemeanor, Class A misdemeanor, 2 years deferred adjudication probation. Did you complete that probation? Yes. I completed, but I didn't. I mean, again, I signed everything under duress, without recourse, without prejudice, all rights reserved, with a DNA thumbprint on the paperwork. So it just goes to show that corporations do what they want to do, and pretty much. What corporation are you referring to? It's a corporation that's okay. So basically, when somebody labels you as a criminal or puts a crime onto a citation to summons money out of you, when you put crime or criminal, that means you had to have hurt or injured or harmed somebody. If you look up the definitions and you study definitions of this stuff, that's what it tells you. Under Black's Law, under the Color Code, it's endless. There's so many lawyers that are coming out now and talking about the corporation is pretty much fraud. I mean, because there ain't nobody. If people didn't have a 5th grade education, half these people would understand that in order for it to be a crime, there has to be an injured party, and it cannot be the state, because a state is an entity. It is not a human flesh body of blood. So how can you hurt the state? How can the state charge you for something if you did not hurt them? So they're racketeering by picking up charges because people don't know how to assess that. Okay. Do you have a physical address where you don't have a physical address where you're living? No. I mean, I may, but right now I'm living here to here to here to there. So give me a week or two. I might have a place. I'm not sure yet. And who is Lori Melton? Lori, that is a neighbor. Okay. And, I mean, how long have you known Lori? For a very short while. Maybe from the time I started renting the property. And the property you were renting, what was the address for that property? 578 Huckleberry. Alaska. 7-7. I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay. Well, here's what you need to do. If you'll call my office, one day next week, the number's on there. They're making me copies of everything they have now.
Yeah, like you're gonna answer, like when I had people calling you, your office to let you know that I was sitting in jail, and for 88, it took you 88 days for you to come up there and see me. Wow,
We'll make an appointment. I can either meet you at my office, which is in Cold Spring, but if you're here, and
I won't be here. That's the thing. The only place.
Well, you say, when I say here, my office is in Cold Spring over in Centerton County. If you're living in your car or you're living from place to place, it may be simpler to meet you here in Polk County as opposed to you driving all the way to my office in Cold Spring.
This shit still eats me up.
That's up to you.
Made me homeless. I'm in Clear Lake area.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not. These are the people I know, friends out there. So I figure it's better to go out there and be around people that.
Then I think probably the thing to do is our next court date. I'll have everything ready to go prior to the next court date of, what did we say that was, the 18th? So you're saying you won't be coming back to the Polk County area until probably September the 18th.
So that court date, and we've discussed what the intentions are and what you know.
Okay. Well, then,
you're here to protect me, and that's it, correct?
Yeah, and we can either do one of two things. Either you can make an appointment to come to my office, or you can make an appointment to meet me here, or we can meet again on September the 18th. It's unlikely I'm going to drive to Clear Lake.
What's the purpose of the meeting?
So I can show you everything the state says you did and everything the state has as far as evidence.
Okay, you can't mail that to me? I get an address?
Well, you're going to have an address. I can certainly send it to you, but
and then,
as of now, we don't have an address.
Right. Well, somebody will let me use their address, I'm sure. And then what I'll do from there is then we will have the discussing what I have. That way we're on the same page when we walk into court.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Discovery-wise.
Okay. Do you have an email address?
I sure do.
What is it?
It is BECK. Letter N.
Letter N.
As in Nancy. Call. Gmail.
Is that an email that only you have access
Yes.
to? Okay.
That was my company that I had for 10 years. That was
BECK. Okay. Then I will be in touch. Okay.
Yeah, and then how available are you as far as talking on the phone? I know my fiance said she called numerous of times, couldn't get a hold of you.
If you'll call the office, they'll give me the number and I'll call you back. Okay. Okay. Good luck. And we'll talk when I got some more.
And that's what she did, and that's what others did. And he knew I was sitting in that jail cell, and he chose to do this 88 days. I really think there's some conspiracy going on, but I can't prove that end of it. But I do know that they had 48 hours to assign him to me, and then X amount of time for me to been able to talk to him and get out of jail, to even try to get out of jail when these charges were completely made up. Like I said earlier, I had other cameras running. This is all over a criminal mischief. It's a long story, and maybe I'll make a video about that as well. But I was completely innocent, and the officers blankly told me they would find something to put on me and be back to arrest me. And behold, another 15, 20, 30 minutes later, I was arrested. And I do have that on video, but it's an old camera, and it does have a SD card in it. But when I tried to actually pull everything off of it, it said to reformat. So I don't know if somehow I lost it or not. But I'm still digging in for more investigation on this. This is several years later, and I'm a lot more wiser. Thanks to Eddie and a whole bunch of other guys in these groups, Neil, Robert, Dwayne, all you guys out there that are fighting for righteousness and what actual law is. All right, thanks, guys. Peace out.